and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we're looking at Tasteful Touches and we're looking at the flower. And I thought I would show you a easy way of colouring the flower in and how to get definition. And rather than using blends and things like that, which are very quick but don't always give us the tones and things that we want, I thought that we would use our watercolour pencils. Now, they come in two sets, so you could have one set or the second set, and I will leave a link down below. But put them together and you have a really comprehensive set of watercolour pencils. Now, you don't need to use the water. They are exceptionally good for colouring in, and then you can add some water and make them watercolour. However, as actual pencils, the colours are really vibrant. So I know my camera's pretty close because I wanted to show you colouring in the lovely floral image from the Tasteful Touches, because it's a really nice stamp, because it's quite forgiving, because you have lots of shadow pieces to follow. So I thought we would do, we're going to do 3 different ones and build those up. So we're going to do a pinky purple one, and for that we're going to have Flirty Flamingo, we're going to have Rich Razzleberry, and we're going to have Gorgeous Grape, and I think that's, oh, and maybe a little bit of Melon Mambo. Okay, so we've got 4 for that one. Then we're going to do a blue one, and we're going to choose Bermuda Bay. We're going to choose Pacific Point, and we're going to have Night of Navy, and we might have a little bit of Balmy Blue as well. So we've got 4 blues in there, we've got 4 purples, and then we're going to do a reddy orangey one. So we'll have Cherry Cobbler, we'll have Coastal Cabana, we'll have Pumpkin Pie, and we'll have Real Red. Okay, so I've got all of those out so that we can work sort of systematically with each one of them. So I think I'm going to do the let's do the red one first, shall we? So we take the palest colour. So the palest colour on these 3 is your Calypso Coral. And the first thing you're going to do is literally just lay the colour down on each one of the petals. Now, if you use the side of your pencil, it works better because you don't get those rough lines. So I don't tend to sharpen. You can see the pencil's not particularly sharp because you don't want those really sort of harsh lines. So you can literally just colour that straight over fairly quickly in, as I say, your lightest colour that you're going to use. And you can see that I'm just doing it. Doesn't matter what direction you're doing it in, because you're just laying that light colour down first that gives you that little bit of definition. Okay, so then we're going to take the darkest colour, which is going to be the Cherry Cobbler, and where the shadow pieces are, you are going to literally colour down on those dark shadows. So building it up just a little bit so you can see where the shadows are here. And this is a great one to practice and to start with, because when you get to flowers that don't necessarily have that definition, by using this one as sort of a beginning, it will give you that definition, because you can see exactly where the dark shadows are. Now I've stamped this out in a good black ink, but you can do it in whatever colour you want, but you can see where all of this dark shadow is. We're just colouring all of that over in the cherry cobbler, and then we'll take this one down and do again. And I'm following the lines for this one, so I'm doing it in the direction, and as I say, just taking it down. So you just sort of follow it through. And you can see very easily where these dark pieces are. But it doesn't take a huge amount of time. I suppose each one probably will take about 5 minutes. Because it's not a huge image. So now what I can do with this one is to turn it round the other way, because then that makes it a little easier. And then we can get that line in between as well. There's a little bit on here, a little bit on that side, and then we'll have a little bit just down in on the bottom. So that's colour 2. Then we're going to go in with the real red, and we're going to go over the cherry cobbler and then just bring it out a little bit more. So what you're doing is you're taking in the colours on each one and blending them through, so you end up with sort of a seamless colour tone. And this is the nice thing with the pencils, that you can build up the colours really well. And I love using the pencils. I don't use them often enough, and you know, when the blends came out, I think we were all blends. But your pencils are a great cheaper investment, because they're not very expensive, and they will last you for years. I was going to say forever, but you know, it depends how much you use them, but they will last you for a very, very long time. Now you can see how we're starting to build up this colour coming through. I'll take a little bit more in on this bit on here, a little bit on there. Okay, and then we're going to take the pumpkin pie, and we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to take it over the top, and as I say, you can do it in lines, you can do it in little circular motions, however you prefer to do it. It really doesn't matter in the colouring, but just go over those sort of edge parts. We could have just a little bit coming up just in under there. Take this bit up onto here a little bit, take those up. And as I say, I'm doing this fairly quickly because I want to show you, but you can see how just taking a few different colours that you will build up these beautiful tones fairly quickly and easily, and the pencils just give that extra little bit of definition. So I'm going to turn this one round to just do this bit on here, down in on the bottom, so it's just given that sort of orangey tone to it. And then I'm going to go back to the lightest one, the Calypso Coral again, and I'm just going to give a little bit more definition to the outside of those petals. So again, I'm using the side of my brush or side of my pencil and just very gently just bringing in to give that little bit more of the definition right at the end. Okay, so that's the first one. In the center, I would choose, so let me have a look, Daffodil Delight and Crushed Curry. So for the center of the flower, just make sure I've got my pencils back in here carefully. I keep them in a box. So for the center of the flower, I'm going to do the Daffodil Delight, and again all over with it, building it up as I go. And then I'm going to take the Crushed Curry and just do round the outside where it's likely to be a little bit darker. Okay, so that's the first one. If I then bring it up very carefully, hopefully you can see that definition of colour in on there and all of those different tones. Okay, so the second one we're going to do in different shades of pink. So again, we're going to start with what is the lightest in the pencil tones, which is the Flirty Flamingo, which is a really nice pink. And again, we're going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to go right the way across. Taking it out in each one. Now you can obviously choose whatever colour tones that you want, but I've found that these ones work really well together to just give different colours and different tones. So if you wanted this one a little bit redder, you could add a little bit more of the cherry cobbler in there. But again, the first lay down is fairly quick and fairly simple. You're literally just taking it all through in one colour, which is going to be your lightest. And as I say, the Flirty Flamingo, as long as you don't do it too deep, does come out a gorgeous sort of pale pink, which is great on the outside. Okay, so that's that laid down. Just doing a little bit more because I want it a little bit deeper. So the next one is we're going to go with the rich razzleberry. No, we're not. We're going to go with the darkest, aren't we? So we're going to go with Gorgeous Grape, and the Gorgeous Grape is going to go down at the bottom. So again, just take that through. Each one of these pieces. Trying to do it at a side so that you can see this, and I've got the camera as sort of near as I can without it sort of going completely out of focus. So we're just taking all these bits in on here, just where all that dark is. And that's why I said it's quite easy to follow on this particular stamp, because you can see exactly where all your darks are. Stop in on that one. Okay, so then we are going to take the rich razzleberry and we're going to go in across over everything and just build that up a little bit. This is where you'll start getting the tones coming in beautifully. And as I say, take a little bit more time than me. I am going quite quickly. I would spend just a little bit more time, but I just wanted to show you the three different colour tones that come out and how you can get some really lovely colours in there. You might find as well, depending how your hands are, of how I do a little bit at a time, because you will find that you're well, you might not. My hands tend to get a little tired after a while, but as I say, I just wanted to show you these lovely sort of colour tones that you can get just with the pencils. And you know, you're not going to get this with the blends because it doesn't give that sort of extra definition. I'm just going to take that dark down on that bit on that one. Okay, and then we're going to use the Melon Mambo, which is the bright pink, and we're going to go over the top of each one of those and take that up, and you can now see how each one is starting to sort of blend through quite nicely, and you're getting those other tones coming through. And that's the nice thing with the pencils, they will layer. So when you want to have things, you know, layered up, they will layer beautifully. And because you've got the other pink at the top, so the Flirty Flamingo, it just gives that little sort of shaded bits on the tips. So you've got some really beautiful colours going on. And then obviously, you know, you can put them into whatever you want. You know, they make lovely standalone pieces on top of boxes, on your cards. You know, you can take a few of them and just put them in on your card, and then you've got those bits coming through. But just taking that Melon Mambo over the top just gives that really nice sort of pink tone coming through, which is rather nice. And then we've just got this one down on the bottom. I'm taking that one through. And a little bit on the bottom of there. And then what you can do is you can go back again with your Flirty Flamingo and just take that over the top. So if you wanted to bring out the pink a little bit and not have as much white at the top, you can do that, so that you can take just a little bit more of the colour through, and you just get that not quite as white tone if you don't want it quite as white on the sides. Okay, so if I put that up, you can then see you've got the lovely pinky tones of that one. Okay, so the last one, I'm only going to do one of the petals on here because it will take a little while. So I'm doing the Bermuda Bay, and again that's going to be the lightest colour on here. So I'm just going to take that just on a few little petals like that. Okay. And then we can take the darkest one is going to be the Night of Navy. So you can take your Night of Navy down in on the bottom. Which is quite nice. take that through like that. Then we're going to take the balmy blue, take that up in the top because that gives that lovely sort of bluey tone. Like that, and then we can take the Pacific Point, which is even bluer, and just take that up through on there. So you can see that that's starting to come into those three colours quite prettily. And I'll show you, I've done a balmy blue completely finished, so that's how it would look when that's completely finished. Whoops, bring it on the thing. So a lovely way of colouring your flowers. Then cut them out, sponge around the edges if you want to, and then you've got beautiful flowers to go on whatever you want. So I hope you found that useful. Thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again, and as always, stay safe, stay well, and be kind. Bye bye.